Hi, everybody. I'm Cindy Gorham-Krebling. I'm a member of the Penn Yan Action Coalition, the group that's sponsoring this, our third annual community read. And many of you joined last week, and I see there are some new participants. And last week was very exciting, very animated, and we're looking forward to another great session today. Because we are beyond excited to have Homeira Qaderi join us today in our session and share and answer any of our questions. Homeira is an Afghan woman. She is an Afghan mother to her son, Siawash. She is an author of 7 books, and our book, Dancing in the Mosque, an Afghan mother's letter to her son, and the first one that has been translated into English. And she's an educator, an activist. She has a PhD in Persian literature, and she was a senior advisor to the Ministry of Labor, Social Affairs, Martyrs, and the Disabled in Afghanistan. She's a fighter for equality, a truth teller, and she is bold and passionate about the issues that are important to her. And I want to add that when we invited Homeira, she did not hesitate for a second to join us. I know she realizes the importance of these grassroots conversations to enhance the important issues that are woven throughout her book. And just to start things off, I don't want to take much time because we want Homeira to share. I'll just start off with a question, and then the rest of you, share with your hand to ask a question, and Homeira will be so happy to answer them. Homeira, I just am curious about how you pondered over the selection for the title of this dazzling book, and if you want to share anything about your process or your thinking about the title.
Thank you so much. It's a really honor for me to be among all of you. As you told, I wanted to be with you at this time because for a long time, when others group started to read the books and their community, I didn't want to be part of that, because every time when I reread the book and I want to speak about the book, I think usually it's like I open the wound again, and it's sometimes it's really hard for me, painful. When I started to write this book, I wanted to be healed by this book. I wanted to, make my heavy shoulder light. I wanted to put all the past aside and speak clearly about my past, and after that, go for my future, go for my life. And I never ever thought that my eyes one day again will see Taliban in Afghanistan, in my city Herat, in Kabul, and in every place of that land. I never believed that. Maybe if I think that they will return like a dead body, dead casualty from the grave. I never wrote that books because, not because I'm afraid, because I think it doesn't matter to write or not, because we don't heal. Not me as a woman, but all of the people of Afghanistan. The process of their writing was painful because it wasn't like a memory for me. It was my present at that time. I was in that, I were in that pain, and I should, in that situation, to write. So for me, it was very painful. I wasn't in Afghanistan. I was in California at that time, and it take around 3.5 years till the book was published. And at the first, I thought maybe when the book will publish, I would be in California and I would be safe. But because the immigrant bureaucracy, I returned in a very bad time to Afghanistan. So when the book published, I was in Kabul. And the people of my country divided in two groups. Some of them started, one group started to stone me, and another group started to protect me, because the first group who stoned me was the people who never ever read the book. They just judged me by the cover, dancing in the mosque. And for them, mosque is a holy place, and never you are allowed to dance in that place. But the other groups who read the books at that time, protect me and say again and again, this book is not about just dancing. This book is about a memoir of a girl in Afghanistan on the period of Taliban. So writing the book was painful for me because I was separated from my son, and it was very severe pain in my heart. And even the publish of the book, instead I should to go for a celebrate for my book, I went through a protect time I didn't want to be in eyes of the people because some of them could to kill me also. So if I speak about the process, I don't remember a joyful time at that time. I just cried, and after that start to speak and explain to people that is just a memoir book from my life.
Thank you very much. As always, when you ask questions, you get answers, more questions, important questions are raised. So thank you. Thank you. So yeah, question away, folks. Who's got a question? Okay, Judy? Oops.
Unmute, okay. This is not so much a question, Homeira, but a reflection on what you just said, because I am an English teacher. And so in reading the book, that was my mind as I was reading it, how you were laying it out. And I have my notes next to me. I noted that chapter 6 was dancing in the mosque. And it became the turning point for me in my head about what you were thinking. And the fact that I was a little girl in your class that actually inspired the dancing. And I think there was a young Taliban man, also who saw this, who did not report you. So right there is probably the possibility of another question later, maybe, about who in Afghanistan has it in their hearts to rebel and do something different. But right there in the book, that was the point for me, when it was a quiet rebellion and something different was going to be happening. So that's my remark about chapter 6.
Thank you so much. Thank you. When I chose that title for book, it wasn't to insult any religion, or I just wanted to share my only joyful time in the period of Taliban. If I say that day was the only day that students and me as a teacher, that we were happy, you should believe me. And with that title, I just wanted to share my joyful time. And as you read, even I share that, the first time that I feel maybe I fell in love and the person was a Talib. That's such an irony. But yeah, I think I read very better in the other country than my country. I read very better. They read my book. I was read very better in other country than my country.
Thank you. Another question. Claudia.
Yeah, I'm unmuted, right? Okay. I like, that you are teaching the children in the mosque, and it does seem like a joyful time. And I know at one place in your book, you said, books are my children. And it seems like that the way to freedom and the way to understanding is through books and writing and reading. And it just seems that anytime an authoritarian government or something comes into power, they want to do away with like books and with literature, because those are the ways then you can keep people from being free. So I was wondering if you were thinking about that, as long as we are willing to read and people can write, they can learn and they can broaden their world and they can have more understanding. Just like you said, the ones who wanted to stone you, they hadn't even read the book, so they had no understanding. So I guess I just wondering, like how important, you believe that writing and reading is to being free and to changing our society.
Yes, in Afghanistan, the statistic of literacy is very low, especially among women. Women always worked in Afghanistan. They had job because they work on the land for agriculture, or they sewing the carpet or some embroidery in Afghanistan, and they earn money from that. For me, the only way that I could to earn money was teaching. And the only way that I could to go out of the house was go to the tent and teaching. And after that, I was surrounded by the walls. And every year, as I wrote, I don't know, it was a reason or it was a fact, I don't know, the people put 1 or 2 line more brick around their walls. And we were small, but the walls get higher and higher and higher. So for me, as a girl who at least could read, the only things that could help me to go out of that, above that walls, was to reading the books. And books helped me to understand that beyond my house, beyond that walls of my city, there are more cities that the people living full, dancing, falling in love and going to school, to university. I read, huge number of Russian literature books because in their books, men fearless, women fearless fall in love and they continue to their lives and they see men and they dance with them. So it was the only places that made me calm. But if you look at Afghanistan, generally, yes. My family, my aunt, uncle, they are literate people. They can read, they can write, and they are educated people. But not all family. We have in our family, distant family, that their girls never went to school. For the title of book, Dancing in the Mosque, yes, people started to stone me just because of the 2 words, dance and mosque. And they never go through the book. Even some of them, if they wanted, the book was in English and they couldn't read English. But they don't even believe to others. My brother is in jail right now for 3 months. He is a poet and journalist in Afghanistan. They arrested him 3 months ago and they put him in trial in the military court in Afghanistan. And they sentenced him for 1 year in the court. The verdict is show that he insulted the leader of Emirates. So the insulting of the 1 or 2 person is his Facebook by my brothers has a 1 sentence, has a 1 year in jail. Just think about that. How it can be danger when I am playing with the mosque, the most holy place in the religions. And they just take it in the insulting way. My brothers, after my father allowed to visit him in jail, told to my father that my brother told to my father, they asked me about Homeira. They asked me about his book, her book, and they asked me, do you know English? And my brother told them, yes, I know English. And they said, so translate for us this phrase, dancing in the mosque. And they knew the meaning, and they just wanted to put him under more pressure. It was a hard time, but I don't want to be ungrateful, because the new generation, when they read the book, they welcome it, they welcome me. And some people say maybe in the book is some part of exaggeration. You exaggerate some part of the book about the Taliban, and because they never experienced Taliban, they were born in Republic period of time, and they never saw the Taliban, and they just knew Taliban through our story, their mother stories. So after the Taliban retook Afghanistan, I had 1,000 emails that they apologized me because they have seen the Taliban and they experienced Taliban. And I can say, yes, Taliban is really changed. They are really changed because I experienced, I lived with them, and I had the experience. In the first time, they never, ever allowed to have any TV station in Afghanistan. They break down every picture because they say it's a sin, and nobody can even pray a house that there are some pictures, family pictures, flower pictures, or plates picture. So we didn't have any even TV station because it was about picture. But right now, Taliban allowed to the Afghan people to watch TV, or the TV station are continuing to broadcast their programs. I know there is not a lot of women and a lot of show and movies removed from the daily plan, but at least they shocked me because they allow to have many TV station. Yes, you can just see the people go there and recite the Quran, and they just speak about the Islam, and they just speak about the religious idea, but at least there is some woman. I don't want to be ungrateful. People right now understand, even with these Taliban, that they are better than the Taliban who I experienced. They know how hard, how is hard to living with the Taliban, and the book doesn't have any exaggeration.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for those insights. Another question. Debbie, you had one. Deb.
First of all, Homeira, thank you so much for being here. It is truly an honor to me too, and your book is brilliant. It makes, I think we all need to realize we need to fight to keep democracy and to keep women's rights and human rights. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your family in Afghanistan. You talked about your brother, and I'm also interested in how you were able to get custody of your son. And when the book ended, I know you have custody now, but when the book ended, you were in the battle. But how did you ever win
I had 2 or 3 battles in several times. The first one, I wanted after 35 years to make myself a little clear, because all bad memories, all the bad things was in my heart, and I was very heavy. So I wanted to start this battle to put all of them aside and go for my new rule as a mother for the new battles. So the book wasn't a tool to take my son, because when I went to Afghanistan and took the custody, my book wasn't published at that time. So I went for a new battle. The book had its contract, and I was in the process of edit of that book, because the book, when I give to the publisher, the book was around 1,100 word, and they made it around 6,000 word, and they cut half of the book, and because they removed the some part that there was about my neighbors, the girls who was in the girls who connected with me at that time, and they all cut them, and they said, no, we won't just focus on you, not all the girls in neighborhood. And I think, yeah, it was right. But because they are the story was with me, I just wanted to put aside, and I wrote them all of them in my book. So when I returned to Afghanistan, I went to for the first day, when I put my feet in the airport, I took a taxi and went to the foreign minister, because I knew that my son will be there in the kindergarten. But my husband called to some of his friends don't ask them, don't allow me to go through the gates, because there was a lot of gates, security gate, and like that. But the people, even the guards in Afghanistan, knew me, and they couldn't control me, and they didn't say, or they don't insult me, and they just say in Persian, they said, Homeira Qaderi, welcome to Afghanistan, and like that. But they knew that maybe right now a big fighting started in foreign minister, because they knew I wrote to all my application, I wrote to all of my page and media that I cannot speak with my son. I wrote it for 3 years and a half. I asked the people, please send me some picture of my son. I wanted to see him during his his growing up. And the people knew that story. So when I went through the gate, my ex-husband asked them to don't allow this woman, but they allowed me because they couldn't control me. Actually, they scared of a mom. I'm very short, as you read in my books, and I'm very light. I'm around 53 kilos, and I am around 5 feet. I'm not a big woman with a gun and armed. No, but I was a mom, an angry mom. So when I went through the gates, some of very important department head came out. They asked me to be silent. They asked me to be prepare the situation for you to see your son, and after that you can decide what you could do, but not in foreign minister. And I used that scare and said, okay, if you don't prepare that situation, I will come here again, even from the wall, and I start the fight. The foreign minister is very important, and always under the camera and media, and they didn't want to that things happen. I didn't have another way. They didn't leave me another choice. So I should at that time. I had to go not like a educated woman to speak lightly. I should be like a Talib at that time. And I didn't have another way because I am small and I scared a lot. Just I wanted to act, I am very strong. And I didn't want to people, especially men in foreign ministry, don't see my scare. Because of that, I act like that. For the first time, I saw my son in another place, but they didn't allow me. His father didn't allow me to say that I am his mom. He said you can see him just for one time, and you are not allowed to say him that you are mom because you are dead for him. And when I spoke with my mom told me, if you are dead, why you are in Afghanistan? You should be, your grave is in USA. You return to your grave. If you came here and if you are alive, say to your son that you are your mother, that you are your mother. And that made me very strong. And the first time that I was alone, I told him, do you know who I am? And he said, my aunt. I said, no, I am your mom. And he was shocked. He didn't understand it. And I saw that in his face, in his eyes. How is possible a dead mom be in front of you and say, you know, I bring you some gift around my grave. He is very smart son because he went through very fast and tough process. Because of that, he can survive from every situation. And he told me, okay, can we play? And I said, yes. I saw that he wanted to escape from this situation. And when I start to play with him, he asked me again, who are you? And I said, I'm your mom. And he never asked me again. We played for maybe 20 minutes and his father cruelly took him after 20 minutes. And even I didn't allow in that moment to give him a hug or kiss him. And you know, I think even right now that I was died in that time 10 times in that 20 minutes. And done. They didn't allow me to see him again. And I was feel miserable. I was lost in Kabul again. I didn't have my life. I didn't have my son. I didn't had my husband, and was totally alone. And my family was in Herat. Is a a far city of in a distance from Kabul, around I think 18 hours. I asked from my ex to please allow to see him again. He told me go to the court and ask from the court. He told that because he knew going to a court for a woman is unbelievable. The woman don't go to the court, especially a woman with the well-known profile in Afghanistan. Maybe he thought that I don't want to any person see me in court, because if a woman go to the court, it means that he's a bad. He's a bad. It's a label to you. So, and also another thing that he encouraged me and asked me go to the court and take your right was because he won in the court 2 or 3 times, and he was believed that he can take custody of my son. I asked my brother I want to go to court, and he said to me, do everything that you want. But he didn't tell me that I will go with you. He didn't tell me that I will go with you. He just said me, okay, you are free, go to court. I went and started the first battle after 3 years in person. I did it by my lawyer before, and all of them was loser at that time. And I did it by myself. I didn't get any lawyer. And I went through a tough process. And it's taken along 5 months to take my son. But before, in these 5 months, I couldn't tolerate to don't see my son. Because of that, again, I went to the foreign ministry and I wanted to go to the kindergarten. But at that time, in that minute, my ex took Siavash hands and they wanted to go out of foreign ministry. They didn't know that I wanted to come. And in that minute, nobody could control me, and there wasn't a place to anybody control me. I hugged my son and said, I am your mom, and you should speak with me. I should see you. We should play time together. And at that time, my husband called to the police and said, here a woman, he wanted to kidnap my son. And because he called from foreign ministry, number of the calls come and they say you in the big street, and all of the people was shocked what's happening in the foreign ministry. All of the people, I can say more than 20 police come to foreign ministry just because they wanted to arrest one woman without gun. And they took me to the police station. The ordinary soldier didn't know me. They arrested me in front of my in front of my son. They arrested me, and my son started to crying at that time. Also, I cried a lot. We didn't know why, because I didn't want to feel that miserable. Like 20 men came just to arrest a woman without gun. The only thing that I had, it was a car, a small car. I take it for Siavash to play with. I bought it. I was in a station police for around 8 hours. After that, my brothers came and was beside of me and protect me. And the head of the crime department knew me and said, we apologize to you, but we should to process the papers. And from that minute, I said, okay, I want to go and fill out a paper against my ex because I feel very violent in Afghanistan. And I want to say, even if you don't hit a woman, if you don't beat a woman, but you put her under pressure is a violence. With all of that, I took the custody. I spoke in front of, I think, 7 judge. I didn't cry during the day, in front of the judge, but I cried every night. I cry every night. During days, I was a very strong woman, and all of them was shocked. But in my privacy time, in my home, I cried every night. And it was the first battle for me. After that, the book came out, and my ex used from the title a lot in front of a lot of judges and say, you give the son for a woman who doesn't believe to the Holy Islam. So even the book was gone against me because the title was bad, because the court in Afghanistan, all of the law basic on the Quran. And the judge was shocked that how you can say dancing in the mosque. After that also I started another document against my ex for my financial rights, because in Afghanistan, when you are divorced, no man give you anything. And if you are alive and if your husband dead, they give you 1 of 8. If your children also be alive, you should give it to the children, especially for your sons. So I didn't have anything. we bought everything together, and I won 2 steps of the big steps in the courts, but I lose in the last one. In the days that the Taliban retook Afghanistan, I wanted to start it for another time my battle, because I know where my mistake in the process, but the Taliban came and I stopped everything. But I could took my son.
You may be small, Homeira, but you are huge in so many ways. Oh my goodness. Wow, what a story. What a story. How about another question? Claudia's got one? Or
Yes. Okay. I'm just amazed at your courage. I know it was very, very difficult. And I think you're an unusual woman. And I'm wondering what do you attribute your courage to? I mean, how much did your parents play in this? Because I read about your parents. I mean, they were educated, they read, they seem to encourage you. I mean, do you think that they helped you to become who you are today?
Yes, my family is an educated family, but even educated family in Afghanistan has its limit. They don't encourage, they don't protect me in every way. But I'm grateful for the time that they protect me and they allowed me to fly. That was enough for me. But I can say sometimes to could fly when they couldn't see me. They in the 2 years in Kabul, I was in the court. And none of that days, I didn't see my father, neither my brother. Nobody come to me. If you ask me what is the most painful memory from you when you was in a battle, I say the court. The days that I was in court, I was in some building and go from this office to that office to take, some sign, and when the judge looked at me, they was very painful. Because you cannot see a huge number of women in court. Even courts is masculine. In Afghanistan, people, especially in family court, women get more violence. When you go to the court, you see men more than women. Maybe I wanted, my father came to Kabul and go with me through all of that days. Maybe I wanted to, my brothers go with me through all of that days. Jobber, my brothers, who told me that give his son. I never forgot that sentences. They exclude me from all of my feeling. His son. He lived in my block. He lived, and our wall was common. The first house was from him, and the second belonged to me. And he saw in these 2 years that I am going every day to court, but he didn't ask me, do you want to go with you? I need a protect.
Right.
Because that land is a masculine land. When you have a man with yourself as a brother, father, husband, people take you more serious. People people give you dignity. But when you are alone, a single mom, and you are in a court, the people don't give you a good look. So, but I want to say, for the first time, when I asked my mom to go to the court, yeah, my brother went with my mom. Because maybe he thought at that time the his mom hair is white and he's an old woman. It's okay if an old woman be in the court, but it's not okay if his sister she's young be in the court. I am grateful for every minute that my family protects me, and I don't have any complaint for those days that they don't protect me, because I know Afghanistan. I knew that country very well. I know that they protect me beyond their ability. You know, my divorce was the first divorce in our big family. I can say my divorce broke my father and mother back. And for them, it was really, really hard to answer to the people why a man kick out your girls, your daughter. For them, it's just kick out your girls, your daughter. So I leave them alone at that time to find the answer for people. A big number, even my aunts and my Nana John asked me to stay with that man, because they believe the dignity of woman is before she married. For a girl, the dignity, humanity dignity is father house. And after that is husband house. So it wasn't just about divorce. It means I don't have any dignity in society. And with losing this dignity, it means I took that dignity from family also. My brothers at that time get engaged, and my mother was confused to how explain to that another family to why their daughter is kicked out of the house. So I know I give them a lot of pain. I give them a lot of hard time. I give them, some damage to their family that they never could rebuild it. So because of that, I really grateful. But I want to say, I want to be honest with you, woman, that yes, I had a time that I was totally alone by myself in my country, while I had the 4 brothers, mothers, fathers, uncle, aunts.
Well, thank you, Homeira. I'm learning things that I never even thought about. Things you're bringing up about your culture, and it's important that we better understand the Afghani culture. So thank you. I know that some of a lot of this stuff is very, very hard to share. So do we have another question?
There was a question in the comments. I want to let have an opportunity for from Alejandra, wondering if the author could comment on the process of writing as healing.
Excuse me, can you?
Yeah, the process of writing as healing.
Okay.
Well,
Even now, when I speak, I'm speaking with you. I cannot take myself from the pain. Every word in my tongue turned onto a tears in my eyes. So if the writing process could help me, why I'm crying till now. And this is the reason that I don't want to be in the club when the people read my book. Especially that after that, the Taliban retook Afghanistan. It's made more painful because I thought I put all my love in that, among that paper, and that paper is the in house of others people, not in my house. Even I don't have one of that books in my house because I don't want to keep it. I give it to Ward, so I didn't want it. But when I speak with my city girls, it's like they give it again, all of that to me. I'm not in Afghanistan anymore, but I cannot be separated from Afghanistan. All of my roots grew up in that city. And the water that I'm giving to grow up again is from Afghanistan. It means I'm carrying my history everywhere. So, no, I need to recovery. I don't know how many years, but I need it. I didn't heal.
Thank you for sharing that. Do we have another question?
Yes,
Nancy?
Peggy?
Oh, Peggy, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this. And I just can't even imagine what you've gone through. Could you help me though? How old is your son now? And when did you gain custody of him? So has he been with you for several years?
My son is around 8.5.
Okay.
Yes, and I cost the custody at the first till the 7 years. When I got him, he was around 5. So I got the custody for 2 years because according to Islam, based on Islam, a mom can, after divorce, can have her son or girls just for 7 years till the children need a nurse. And after the 7 years, all of the children belong to the man. So I just, at that time when I got my son, he was 5 and I had just 2 years. But during 20 years, they give a bonus to the woman and said, sometimes some children need 2 years more to their moms. And they say it's a civil right. So I had just 2 years, and enduring that night, every night, I just started to count every night. Because when every night was passed, it means I am going to close and closer to days that I should surrender my son to his father. But I started to collect a lot of reasons that my son need 2 years more. I wanted to have my civil right also in the court. And finally, because I didn't marry, the court accepted to give my son to me for 2 years more. It wasn't actually easy because father can fight for that. And he fought for that a lot, not because he wanted to have his son, because he wanted to break down me and he wanted to feel me miserable. You know, even in Afghanistan, it's a very big shame for a man to be loser in front of women. And my ex didn't want it to be a loser. It wasn't important about my son for him. It was important about himself. So I want to say in these 2.5 years that I was in Afghanistan. Whole that days I was in court, sometimes because of the custody, sometimes because the custody was finished, sometimes because of financial problem, and I was to court every day. So they give it again to me with the big number of the condition. And I took my son and I won for next time even, and for 2 years. But after that, I didn't had any reason to keep my son, because the Islam will come through everything and say enough. Even after the civil right, you cannot be their mom anymore. It was a chance to me to took my son because I didn't marry. But if a woman married in Afghanistan, she never ever can her children after the marriage. So I didn't marry. I was in a hostage for my ex to be unmarried woman to take my son. Yes, after I took my son for another 2 years, that it was the last 2 years, the collapse happened in Afghanistan. And if I be honest, I kidnapped at that time my son and bring him here to being her mom forever.
Oh, thank you for telling us. So basically, you have him now. You took him, and you're safe, and he's safe.
Yes, both of us safe, and his father also is in a Qaderi camp. He hoped to can come to US, and after that, I will be very relaxed because I know the court, we can start again for custody. And it means that I think all of my young days will go to the court for custody of my son, to being a mom and to prove to the board that I his mom and I wanted to be with him. If my ex came here, I'm more relaxed because we can start a justice. I can be in a just court that they don't ignore my feeling as a mom. After that is not important. They give my son to me or not, but I think I will be in a court that they say women and men are equal, and as equality, we won't give a verdict. I am more just because here I don't want to say everything is good for women. I know here also has its problem, and but I know in the courts they will count us, both of us, as one human. But in Afghanistan, 2 women count as a 1 man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nancy Bailey, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Homeira, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your book. I'm learning so much along with everyone else. I would like to know what your life for you and your son, what your life is like here in America. And I'm curious to know if there's anything that is moving you to write here about something that's happening to you here, or who you're becoming here.
My son has heard a lot that I am always speak about the equality between men and women. So for him, this issue is very familiar. So sometimes he said to me, if we are equal together as men and women, so why you can have a free time to watching TV, but I have limited for 40 minutes or 1 hour. So we don't see any equality in this house. Yes, we are in a way to find each other, to heal each other, because it's happened for him to see me in a very bad situation, in a weak situation, in the situation that I insult a lot in front of me. So he saw all of that. And we just wanted to heal each other. We went through the very past, very tough process. When we are running in the airport in Kabul, his glasses fell out and he took me, pulled me and said, "Mom, leave it alone." And I said, "No, it's made for you problem if you don't have your glasses." And in the, with that situation that everywhere were full of bullet, I searched for his glasses and he just crying to Mom, "Leave it alone. I want to be safe." It means that we all care about each other as a two human. Sometimes even he is more adult than me, because when I get sad or angry, he can see in my eyes and say, "Mom, don't worry, you have me right now, you have me." And he knows that is a big help for me to don't count every day that my mothering is finished. So we are in the process that heal each other. But yes, I am writing again because I got hurt in the August 2021 again. It doesn't done. I came with the new bad memoir here. I saw very bad picture in just 20 days in Afghanistan. I saw how Kabul airport turned to a hill for 10 days, and the Kabul was a ghost city in that days for people. I saw the armed Taliban start to kill people, to beat women in the street, and so I am here again heavy. But I wanted to write about my feeling to being in exile, and think about my country and be in contact with my people. For at least for me, I don't want to say for writers, at least for me, I need to distance from all of things. I wanted to be a person who sit a little far from all of these things that happen, and I want to see them well. Because right now I think I am in a black space. I cannot see everything well, because when I started to think, I got confused, I cried, and I cannot see clear. Yes, I'm sure I'm writing, but not about Kabul, not about that I am here. I'm working on the one collective of short stories that I wishes it was my ambitions to publish in Afghanistan. In that books, I had some maybe like advice for women to how be fearless, but I don't have any place to publish in Afghanistan anymore. I am sure Taliban never allowed me to have any book in Afghanistan, but I'm not disappointed. I worked on book and I wanted to publish it in Iran because it's very close to Afghanistan. And I know my people go and come to that country and they can take the books and the book will reach to my city in Herat. And also, I'm working on another books, Tell Me Everything, that I'm working in these days in Harvard in my office. This book also in about Afghanistan and about a woman who is in exile and he's dealing with his psychiatric, with his doctor about his field. So if I want or not, all of these problems will come to my story step by step.
Thank you. Thank you. I see that it's after 4 o'clock now, and
But yeah, I have a COS here.
oh, Siwash.
Yes, come here.
Hi, Siwash. Hi there. We're so glad that you joined us. We've had a good conversation with your mom, and I hope you had a good day at school today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You've got summer coming up pretty soon, don't you?
Yeah.
Summer vacation. Good, good.
Did you read my mother's book? Is it good?
Everybody who you see on the screen read your mother's book, and we all are in awe of her writing.
That book, right?
Well, I've got it right here. Here it is.
Oh my God.
Here's the one with the mulberry tree. And there's another edition that has bare feet on it from the dancing. Yes, everyone here is a fan of your mother's, so we so appreciate it, and we're so glad that we got to see you and say hello to you.
And I'm really glad that I'm with my mother and you're right here with us.
We're really glad too.
Thank you.
So thank you. So you have a good weekend. You only have a few more days of school, right?
Yeah, I went to school today and tomorrow I'm going to my soccer practice.
Great.
My
Good.
mom takes me to there, so I always do my soccer practice every Saturday.
Great. Good. Well, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I go swimming like I know every Sunday or Tuesdays. So yeah. Oh, do you want to share about your first grade in poem challenge? Oh, yes, he has a news. So like it was a week ago or a month ago. I was like there was an email to my mom that I won a poem challenge that it is in a Cambridge Public Library, and I won second grade first place at a poem challenge.
You know, I think I saw you. Did you show that on your mom's Facebook?
Yes.
Last night I was on your mom's Facebook, and I thought that was you.
Yes.
That was, congratulations. You and your mother have something in common, don't you? You both like to write and you're good at it. That's wonderful.
You know what he told me? You should publish it from my Facebook, from my page, because if you publish it from your page, you got more followers than me. And sometimes he said, can you please share my page because I wanted to have followers. Because his family are very famous in Afghanistan because he was very strong, and some of people made some TikTok about him and about his speak. He had a very interview in TV because he give very respect to women, as he knew like he was famous. He was famous for respect for women in Afghanistan, and he wanted to have that place here in USA.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to, before we leave, that we have one more session next week. That'll be our third Zoom session, same time on the 24th. And Stacy, who is with us today, McCarthy from Saints Place, will be with us. And Saints Place is a volunteer organization that provides many things for refugees in the Rochester area. And this past December, our Penn Yan community with a college community collected truckloads of bedding for refugees in the Rochester community. So we're looking forward to having Stacy, and also there will be women from Afghanistan who have resettled in Rochester will be joining us in conversation. So we look forward to that. And we want to thank everybody. So
I will be on Washington DC because there are a festival, and they invited me. So if I couldn't to join you, I apologize right now. But I hope the situation be good for me to join to your group again in the 24. But if I couldn't, because I am in my trip, and I hope to can, but I am in touch with you. I will keep this conversation, and I will allow you understand that I can join or not.
well, thank you so very much, and you have woven a golden fabric in our lives, in the fabric of our lives through your story. You're an amazing storyteller. You're a truth teller. And if we can all be as bold and passionate about things that are important to us and the equalities for women and act on these things, we thank you very much.
Thank you much, Sandy. You were in touch in all of days, patient with us. Thank you from all of you that you was very patient when I speak English. My English is not well, and I hope Siavash helped me very soon to get a little more better in future. And he promised to speak with me some hours in the house. And thank you so much. That was a good time, especially when there are some mom. I feel they understand me very well. And thank you for being with me.
Thank you so very much.